Hello and welcome back. We're here. We've got to the bit where you get to tell people what must be done. We've accounted for what we've got in the present, context. We've shared our vision for what could or should be, aim. We've provided a compelling reason to achieve it. And now it gets practical. This is what has got to be done. Decisive action. Why not just action? Because, well, that would muck up the acronym. But that's not the only reason. If you think about communication as action that influences other people to do something intended to achieve a specific outcome, if you want them to make a decision, perform in a certain role, adopt a particular behaviour, or accept your offer to take action to achieve a desirable outcome, remember, human beings have a wonderful capacity to be distracted and derailed, to be indecisive, to go off on tangents, to avoid challenging situations and default to unconscious biases and redundant instincts. Except that just talking about action lacks impact. Sometimes you've got to spell it out. Decisive action is what must be chosen and done with discipline, determination, diligence, lots of D words. And saying these words evokes the energy of decisive action. We've got to do this and do it now. Other terms that are interchangeable with decisive action, it's the plan, the strategy, the tasks, whatever you call it. This part of your narrative goes from the story created by context, aim and reason into the practical and pragmatic world of action. For example, a coach talking to the team mid-season. Okay, team, we're in this. We're playing well. We can win this competition. We owe it to ourselves and we owe it to the fans. We've got to train for it. Train like you intend to play. There's the CEO talking to the board. The industry has changed. We need to remain relevant. Otherwise, we're a target. We need to transform the operation. Sometimes I wonder if this session is necessary, because a very human tendency, something that I see quite often, is for leaders to go straight from context to action. You know, this is what's happening, so this is what should be done. In the first session on reason, I pointed out that that's a mistake. Don't assume that your audience is aligned with you on aim and reason. Make it explicit. And there's another error that undermines the impact of communicating action, and that's about the quality of the call to arms. You are asking or imploring your audience to do something, or you are telling them to do something that they otherwise might not do. You can't be inert when you are urging people to take action. I mean, you can, but you mightn't have much impact. The quality that we're aiming to achieve when it comes to articulating decisive action is, firstly, it follows on from the previous messages. Your audience should be able to see how the decisive action will achieve the aim. If the aim is to save water, then the action is to turn off the taps. If the aim is to build a new recruit's sense of autonomy, then the decisive action will be to communicate the parameters and then let them make their own decisions. If the aim is to de-escalate drama with a difficult client or business partner, then the decisive action might be to validate their emotional reality, revisit the terms of the contract, clarify the service levels and accountabilities, and then commit to fulfilling these with renewed vigour. Are you noticing how decisive action is rich with verbs? If you remember the first session of the communication course, you might remember that I stressed the importance of transitive verbs to make a presentation dynamic, lean into the verbs. The tension created by that separation between context and aim, and then amplified with a compelling reason, that tension is resolved as you describe what will be done. And elevating this to decisive action reassures that the situation is not going to drift, that discipline, determination and diligence will ensure that the aim is achieved. It's reassuring and perhaps necessary to apply standards of precision and clarity to the decisive action, especially if your communication is intended to transfer responsibility to another person. So what needs to be done, by whom, to what standard, by when. At the risk of mixing acronyms, you might employ the SMART criteria to decisive action. Specifically, what will be done, by whom? By what measure do we conclude that the action has been successfully executed? Are the actions achievable, assigned, agreed? Is it realistic that the action will achieve the aim? Is the action relevant? What is the time frame within which the action must be taken? So, for example, decisive action to achieve professional certification. Let's say the peak industry body has announced a new professional standard. Our aim is for all staff to be certified. There are two reasons. Our customers expect us to be compliant, and the standard makes sense. The training to achieve certification will improve service delivery. So, what must be done? Specifically, all staff will attend the training in the new standard. We will measure proficiency through a combination of written assignments and role plays. The HR business partners will manage the enrolment, training and assessment of all employees. Certification will be included in everyone's job description, making the exercise relevant, and this will be done within a 3-month time frame. So there you have it. Decisive action. All the examples that I've given in this session have been relatively brief. Of course, when the CEO maps out the 5-year strategy, when the EGM of people pitches the cultural development plan, when the General Counsel explains how the litigation will proceed, when the Chairman of the Board answers to the shareholder meeting, there's a lot more to it. But the mechanism is the same. Cards is not paint by numbers. It's an invitation to think more comprehensively or holistically about what your audience needs in order to get it. In the next session, we'll discuss how you can scale the card structure to accommodate complexity. For now, the action learning asks you to take one of your loftier aims and articulate the high-level decisive actions that must be taken in order to achieve it. Some call these strategic priorities. See you in the next session. Bye for now.